Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cove Club, our premier podcast type show where we just like to sit down, chew the fat, and get to really know all the different individuals in the creative space, from acting, directing, producing, all that sort of stuff. Unless you're Jared from Subway, then we have to ask you to leave the premises and never be back on the show again. Joining me for this episode, and man, this has been a long time coming, because we've had so many different people on the show, even I'm just having whiplash. But today, we're having someone that my team and I have kept a really close eye on, mostly because they have a very enjoyably dope personality, but for the most part, overall, it's because they are just a decent human being. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for UrbanLegendVO.
Hello to everybody out there in podcast land. Glad to be here. Thank you very much for the endorsement.
We like to endorse the best, and we just feel like you're one of them. Like, you give off the air of someone that is going to be at the higher tier, but being humble enough to be like, I'm chill where I'm at. And that's admirable. We like that.
That is, you know what? You nailed it. Distilled down to the very last compound. Right on.
So before we get started, do you want to give people like a little bit of a snippet about yourself from your credentials and what you've been up to thus far?
Yes, certainly. By way of introduction, it sounds like your podcast has a broad focus. I am a voiceover talent who's been in the business since 2017. I've been on iHeartRadio, uh, had commercials for, let's see, going down the list. Biggest one has been the California Department of Health, their anti-corona the coronavirus awareness program. I was the voice of the coronavirus. I'm the Rona. um, had commercials for Jeep, been on my first video game, and a whole lot more, and it's just getting bigger and better from here.
That's all wonderful, man, and we can't wait to see what else you got underneath your cap. So for anyone that's just tuning into these brand new episodes and you're still a little bit confused about how the formula shakes up, let me give you guys the rundown where my second editor, who does all the stuff for I would say, the conversation pieces for certain shows, helps me with the commercial stuff that we do for our programs, as well as edits the podcast that you guys know is anonymous, types up a bunch of different questions on our tablets that kind of gets reset each entire episode to where it's kind of like a randomization thing. I then ask the guest an assortment of questions to where I pretty much state an unknown period during the interview when I turn the tables so that they become the interviewer and I'm the interviewee, since I've always held this whole thing as a journalist long back in the day that everyone has a question and everyone has the right to have those answered. And this is probably one of the best platforms to do it, because in any interview show, people have questions for the host any second of every day. Craig Ferguson probably needed to answer some questions while talking to some guests, as did, God, there's so many late night talk show people that have cropped up.
Johnny Carson.
Yeah, Johnny Carson, Jimmy
Kimmel.
Fallon, all those different individuals. They all have stuff I feel like the guests want to have answered. So I figured I'd be one of the first interviewers that would flip the tables to make sure everyone has an even playing field. And
Very novel.
thank you. And now that I've gotten that whole recap out of the way for the newer listeners, let us dive into the first question on my tablet. So, what began your voice acting journey in the first place?
Uh, I guess it's kind of strange to get a little serious in such a casual conversation, but It's not something that I'm ashamed of. My voiceover career started in the ashes of a failed marriage. I'm going to be as tactful as I can and say that it ended. And in that rebuilding period, I had to take a serious self assessment and realize that I had unrealized goals that I could build on as I rebuilt my life. I've been told that I have a remarkable speaking voice since I was 18. And, oh, you should really be in commercials. Oh, you love cartoons. Why don't you give that a try? And I had avoided it all my life. And true to the quote from Shawshank Redemption, you either got to get busy living or get busy dying. And I wasn't done. I knew that I had goals to realize. So I proceeded as if I would not lose. Didn't know what I was doing, but I proceeded like I had already won the game. And got some private instruction, got the best microphone I could afford, and started auditioning weeks and months before I was told I was ready, because I knew I was ready. And sure enough, long before anybody said that it was my time, I booked my first job, and I've been growing, learning, and booking ever since.
I did not expect that, if I'm being honest.
You take the bad and you make it into something that you can grow on.
That's true. I kind of feel bad now because I was just like, oh, it's just going to be a question that's not going to hit anything personal. And then I asked something I didn't know was going to be personal.
No. I'm not taking any offense, and I'm proud of my origin. I'm really proud of my origin because thinking back to that moment of crisis, I didn't know which way. I didn't know which way was up. I just knew that I had to start swimming and swimming strong. Life had me deep under the waves, and I picked a direction and swam like my life depended on it, and it pays off. There are still moments when I end up feeling a little bit lost, but going back to that origin, I realized that I wasn't as lost as I was then. And if I could do what I did then, man, you better get out your feelings and keep on swimming. You're right, me. I'll try harder. Yeah, make sure you do, me. So I always go back to my internal conversation in order to keep going, because I mean, in this business, we all have moments where like, what am I doing? But yeah, my origin has set a magnetic north that hasn't failed me yet. So I feel no shame in it.
All right. I just never feel comfortable if I'm just like, oh, I'd probably hit something I probably should. Like, that's just me as a person. And I don't know if that's like just me from a bunch of other stuff that's happened in life to where I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have asked. That's just me. I hope it doesn't make anyone feel all confused about why I'm stating this. It's just me as a person. If I bring up something that might touch on something personal, I kind of reel back a little bit like, oh no.
Oh, fortune favors the brave. Proceed with all boldness. Most of the time, nobody's paying attention.
Sadly, yeah. Anywho, next question on this here tablet. We're gonna be circulating back to this because it's now the third time I'm asking this question, thanks to one of my fellow partners in crime / one of the 5 CEOs of this team. What would you say is the funniest role you've had in your career thus far?
Yeah, it stands out in my resume. It's one of the biggest roles that I've had, and it was the role where I found the most chance to play the way my instructors always taught me to. Um, the spots that I did for the California Department of Health as the coronavirus, uh, that was a blast. By nature, I'm very quiet and bookish. This is probably the most talking that I'll do all week outside of auditions. But I find that my voice print matches mostly with big, chesty, burly bad guys. Either bad as in good, like kings and superheroes, or bad as in bad, like the coronavirus that has the whole planet on lockdown. But that one had a sense of mirth and wicked fun that gave a lot of performance choices. And I'm really proud of the work that I did. And I don't mean that to disrespect anybody who is affected by the virus, but in playing the role, in the lines that they gave me, it was wicked fun. It was wicked fun.
I mean, as long as everyone had like a decent laugh with it, I feel like it's all good.
They had a segment where somebody shot their shot to go on a first date, and the coronavirus was hovering around them, going, "Oh, I'm so glad you gave it this shot, and now I'm gonna take you home to Grandma."
Oh my god.
Yeah. So they were painting a very vivid picture that I got to play around in.
I can respect that. I can respect that. Alright. Now it's time to go into the third question. Alright, no, sorry, I thought that one letter was a W instead of an M. My bad. This screen is so small right now. What would you say is your favorite moment within the creative space? I've heard so many people say it was to do this one specific role for this game. It was to do this certain thing for this one kid that was having a sad day. It was doing this show at the park. But what is your favorite moment / favorite memory in the creative space?
Vivid memory. I'm sure that anybody who comes across your mic who is a parent will attest to their love for their children. I am one of those. I have 3 boys that I love very, very dearly, all very, very distinct personalities. This one hinges upon my relationship with my second child. Firstborn child is much like me, very, very serious, doesn't say a whole lot. Young one, he's 2, he's a wild card. We don't know what he's going to do. My middle son, oh, that boy. He's 8. He knows everything. He always has something to say. He's always going to have the last word. He's always going to be the first to speak. And my first video game credit is a game called Rebel Galaxy Outlaw. And excited as I was to play it and share it with the family, I called everybody up to the family room. The game console is sparking up, and we come to the space station where the landing crew greets the spaceship. And sitting there on the couch, the crew greets my spaceship, and it's my voice. My middle son hears this, and the crash of feelings on his face, it was like confusion, joy, fear, all coming into a collision on his face, and he had absolutely nothing to say. He sat there in stunned silence for about 5 minutes. As the dad, chef's kiss, perfect moment. He's going to remember that because his dad was on a video game, which is his obsession. I'm going to remember that because Dad got one up on Mr. Chatterbox. I will remember that for the rest of my life.
That's always a beautiful moment when that happens.
Yep, Daddy got you.
Oh, man. I can't do that with my daughters. They're automatically just like, Dad, when you finally get in a movie, all I'm going to do is tell all my friends so they can all go broke. And that way I can laugh at them. And I'm like...
Hi.
Yeah, y'all can't be, like, shocked or, like, a little bit stunned for your old man. It's like, nah.
Absolutely unfazed and ice cold. Yeah. The merits of boys are myriad. I always thought I would be a dedicated girl dad, but 3 children in, the boys have been quite persuasive.
I can relate to that in reverse. Oh, Lord. Anywho, next question here while I just have that existential crisis stare on my face. So this is a question I've often asked people from back when I used to do work as an extra for NBC when it came to Law and Order SVU, and hated every moment just standing in the whole cold while they would just be talking about reshooting the same scene 16 times. I want to order the same kind of hot dog with my long hair blocking my face. I want to just go home. Wasting fake money on a hot dog while we have to hear every single one of the actors try to talk about, so what happened with the whole entire scene here? Did you see anything? Nah, man, I was just taking out garbage. Nothing to see. Anyway, enough about me and my hatred for NBC's whole lack of care for their extras at the time. One thing that the fellow extras and I would talk about would be, what is that one dream role that you would immediately clamor for? And I've heard the entire spectrum from them at that point in my life, where I've heard people say they want to be the first actual Japanese American character that didn't have to do a stereotypical accent to showcase that there could be diversity. I've heard someone that wants to be an immigrant that came from either Mexico or Salvador/Ecuador to be a successful attorney that didn't have to come up from stuff of he had to tend the lawns and so forth and so on to get where he was, and just do stuff normal American stuff would do. But I want to hear from you, what is that one dream role that you yourself are just biting at the teeth to get? Batman?
I was playing around, doing some vocal play in the booth, and read a Batman script. And when I heard it, played it back for myself, I was shocked that at the fidelity. I realized that my voice matches what I always pictured him sounding like. Now, Kevin Conroy is my number one voice for Batman. He's the GOAT. He is the favorite of mine, Juilliard-trained actor, and all of that. And I would never want to take that from him, because that's his. However, the way that my vocal instrument is set up sounds very similar to his. And that playback was self-discovery for me, that given the circumstances, oh yeah, I would absolutely destroy as Batman. And rather than wait, wish, and pine, I've started on that. I've got a YouTube channel uh, where I display some of my vocal plays and have made it a running project. So rather than wait for DC to call on me, I'm actively working on it. I've got a handful of clips and more on the way where my voiceover friends and I are playing around in a professional way with the Batman Pantheon. So, to answer your question, what role would I want? Yeah, I would like to be the Cape Crusader, get invited to Comic-Con, and shock some people that, yeah, Batman very well could be a black guy.
It's funny you state that because while trying to help one of my friends make their own digital comics in Puerto Rico, I was given the attention that they're in this new state of DC Comics making the new Batman one of Lucius Fox's sons.
Yeah, Tim Fox, yes, I've followed that very, very closely.
So if that's still going to be on the table, I'm just like, my man over here going to be the best kind of Batman you've ever asked for an animated series about future state.
That is true. You know what? Let me put myself on Front Street a little bit and say that I'm disappointed in DC's attempt to have their cake and eat it too. If they were really, really being bold, take Bruce Wayne off the table and make Tim Fox the standard issue Batman. That's not going to happen. There are too many pajamas, Pez dispensers, and pachinko machines that have the traditional old school Batman on them for them to give up on that profit and issue new images for an America that is browning. So, what can they do? They'll make a brown Batman for a couple months, and then we'll give you what you've always wanted, or what you always had. Now that we've given you something that you're curious about, then we'll give you back what we've always given you. Like, it's not a bold choice. You know what? I understand that, and I would be interested in a Tim Fox Batman role, but no, I want Bruce. You know why? Because I'm Batman.
That's fair. That is more than fair. Okay. Well, I'm just now waiting on DC to be like, write that down, man, write that down. Gonna jump into the next question right here, which is honestly one of the more fun ones I've been doing since episode 2, and I hope to do it again when I can get oh, I wonder who's like next up on the it don't matter right now who's next up. I've already been talking to the best of the best. Whoever happens next is just gonna be a surprise.
Touche. Well said.
Walk us through a day in your life away from you could even do in the before times of the Rona cooking show. Like, walk us through a day in just you being you.
Let's see. Is this in my current voiceover life or before or?
Before the quarantine hit, because it could be like how I started my day to how I ended my day, basically.
Well, let's see. All right. So, pre-pandemic, the day of ends with just before lights out. Before lights out, arrange the auditions to be done in the morning. At Reveille, get the boys up, get them in motion, get them ready for school. Get them to their locations, come back home, knock out the auditions for the day. After that, go to the 9 to 5, helping out with special ed at our local high school. After that, pick up the boys, get dinner on. Family time, homework, stop fighting your brothers, brush your teeth, bedtime. And after lights out for the boys, hit that late night oil reading audiobook chapters, preparing social media posts, and arranging the auditions that are due for the next day. Rinse and repeat. It's a machine. It's really a machine.
Huh. Alrighty. That's really interesting. Guess I have to put that. I've been getting like a small notifications back and forth about some meal stuff I ordered for a friend of mine because they don't have any accessibility to getting food. So I've been just trying to keep it on my peripherals. I don't want people to go hungry.
Understandable and very fair. Man, that would be a nightmare to me. To not have control of what I'm eating tonight? Oh my goodness, nah.
Yeah.
That is a fate worse than death.
That is more than fair. But so far, everything is good. They should be picking it up in about 2 minutes. So, with my conscience being clear. Next question on the table. Who would you say have been your biggest inspirations for voice acting?
The people that gave me the courage to start will always have my enduring loyalty and a special place in my heart. There is one of the maid women of voiceover. Her name is Anne Ganguza. She is a noteworthy demo producer, corporate audio narrator, e-learning, and so on. She doesn't do much on cartoons or anything like that, but for e-learning, like the voice of Miss Textbook, that would be one of the best in the biz. As things were spiraling out of control before I made my choice to join in voiceover, I had a 15-minute call with her. And in that 15 minutes, she let me know that I had the moxie and the temperament to make a good go of it. I mean, it was only a 15-minute call, but to someone who had little or no hope and rapidly reducing options, she offered a light at the end of the tunnel, which I used to start swimming in the way that I had described earlier. And for that, I call her Auntie Anne. Yeah, she has my undying loyalty. Next up was my VO big brother, Trey Mosley. And he has many, many hats. He is producing his own cartoon. He's, if anybody out there plays Madden NFL, he is the voice of the Superstar KO segment of the game. He's been in commercials. He's on TV. He's a made man and will rapidly become one of those names that you know in the biz. He gave me his old mic. So he passed his lightsaber down to some young Jedi who impressed him with the pressing questions, because I bent his ear more than a little bit. Like, okay, if this is the first step, what is the next step? After that, what do you expect? And I was in his ear constantly. Again, because like I said, I do much more listening than I do talking. Again, this is probably the most that I'll speak all week. But when I do have a question, it's because I've thought about it very deeply. And he had an answer for everything that I had. And he was so impressed with my pursuit of excellence as I entered the industry that he was like, you know what? All right. Here's my old sword. Used it well, and I took it and rocked it. Last one, my biggest inspiration, my 2-year-old son. He is an example that I'm using to direct my career, because I'm sort of new at this. I'm only 2 years in, and that's about as long as he's been on the planet. And he gets in trouble. He makes mistakes. He gets into everything. Uh, and he never stops. And occasionally, it has moments of brilliance that surprised him and surprised his entire family. And that I'm adopting 2-year-old kung fu as my secret style. And as I watch him learn and grow, I know that I'm doing the same thing in the industry, and it's served me well so far.
That was all a very beautiful statement, man.
Thank you.
Like, there's nothing more poignant than having a very detailed and very tight-knit oriented background behind anything that you do. And I share that with anyone. Don't just join it because you want the fame, the money, the cars, the whole "I got this for clout" thing, because then I don't respect you, because you didn't join it for the best reasons. Join it because of stuff like this, where you can see the beauty in doing something and trying to do whatever it takes to leave a lasting mark, the same way that others have inspired in you to do. At least that's how I view it. But I'm also someone people don't really pay attention to, because I don't have 50,000 followers on social media, so what do I know?
And when it comes down to it, those 50,000 could be reduced to 0 in one tweet. Nah, do it because it's in you. Do it for the expression. This is who I am. After I'm gone, this is who I was. And that's something else that I use to direct what I will audition for and what I won't audition for. Again, thinking of my boys. When they see this pop up, they'll be able to say, yeah, my old man kind of did his thing. And I don't want that connected to anything that would make them scrunch their nose up in confusion.
That's always for the best. That's always for the best. We still got a couple of questions here, but this is now allegedly the proper time I do this at random, everyone. If you've watched all these episodes, I don't have this planned. I just do it when I feel like.
Off the cuff is cool.
I'm not Johnny Carson. I'm not able to just do this off the cuff of like, this is when we're gonna do it and we're gonna like it. I'm just me. So it's now time for us to flip the tables to where you are now in the interviewer's seat and I'm on this stool. I have no idea why the interviewee sits on a stool. It's just been a thing since the co-interview. It's canon now. I don't know.
You know what? I think that's accurate because I have a stool in my booth. So yeah, you called that perfectly. That being said, let's venture into nerdy territory. Topic: Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Blue, science uniform. Science or medical. Finding things out, taking care of people. Red uniform. Fighting first. Gold uniform. Administrative, calling shots. What's your uniform?
Man. As much as I feel like I would be better off in blue, so many people that are big Trek fans would say, no, you're in yellow. And I'm just like, could I not be in charge for... No! Oh, alright, whatever.
Alright, Starfleet Gold, huh? Right on. I can understand that. And it's always good to know about yourself.
Yeah, like if I'm being honest, I just don't really want to be in charge of people on like a giant several-year journey, because then it's just like, Captain, we're hungry. We just left the food bay. 2 minutes ago. I know, but I'm still hungry.
It sounds like you've heard this before. Next one. What is your signature meal?
Signature meal.
Something that, yes, this is what I fix when I'm either caring for myself or caring for somebody else.
I don't make this meal anymore thanks to the pandemic, but my signature meal would be to do a nice fusion gumbo where I take dirty Louisiana style cooking for the seafood on top, but I would then mix it up with Metro New York chicken styling in the whole mixture. Have a little bit even seasoning with some nice Cajun spices and oregano, but mixing it with small bits of sage and chopped up onions that have been fermented for about a good additional 5 days. Along with that, I then pre-make myself a little bit of some nicely buttered and evenly spread out Texas toast, cooked to perfection in the oven, and then hit the grill where I would make some I would guess honey glazed barbecue ribs, just decorated to like an even space. Make sure they're nice rubbed out, evenly tend to, and if anyone I know is going to join me and I know they don't really want to have the bones, I painstakingly remove the bones by hand to then still massage the ribs without the bones in it to still be solid and edible by the time it's done.
Impressive. All right. Next up, favorite season.
I'm a fall person. I mean, I was born in the summer, but I just love the fall. It's just a nice way to just sit in my favorite plaid flannel while I read a good book, or reread The Count of Monte Cristo for the 17th time because I'm obsessed with Alexander Dumas. And then I just let the day drift away while I hit up my kids wherever they are. We're just like, hey, you want to talk to your dear old dad? Nah, Dad, I'm sorry, I got a date. Okay, but you know I'm here. Like, we know, bye. That's okay, bye.
Classic. Superpower. Pick one.
Teleportation.
Ooh. Deeper question. What does that say about the person that you are on the inside?
I've actually have been asked this before, and the only answer I came up with is I've always been someone that is a worrier by nature, to where I want to be anywhere for the person I'm worried about at any time. If I had that ability to make sure I could check on them every day, and then make sure as soon as they're good to get back to my life without any sort of stretch being taken up, then that's how I know I can be there for anyone and everyone.
Accurate. Entirely accurate on that assessment. I give you credit for realizing that. The superpower of parental concern.
Yeah.
Is teleportation.
What happened? What's going on? Did you have an allergic reaction? No, Dad, I was coughing.
Oh, you just sneezed? Okay. Poof. You know what? I think that's all the questions that I had. I gotta say, I'm impressed by the depth of the answers.
I may not look it, but I have a lot of deep moments. I'm just always tired. I'm always tired. Even when I get to bed on time, I wake up, I'm like, I'm still tired. Give me 8 or 10 hours of sleep, I'm still tired. It's just a never-ending thing. I never get enough sleep.
Yeah, I used to be a night owl. These boys are taking it out of me. I can barely make it. I can barely squeak until 10:30.
That's fair.
I'm still holding on though.
That's fair, my man. That's fair. But them's the joys of parenting.
Most definitely. To protect these boys and watch them become who they're supposed to be is quite an honor. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I know the feeling. But it is not time for me to flip the tables back, so we can get on with the remaining couple of questions.
Certainly.
So I've been trying to push this question to like be the end, because I've had a few people when they tune in for these episodes, they get a little bit uneasy with this because I bring up a topic a lot of people are afraid to talk about, but I'm kind of getting bored of trying to push this back. So
I'm interested. All right.
So my man, I know that you can relate to me about this because we're both minorities in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
With everything that's going on, with everything that's happened in film, in television in general, and radio, a lot of different events have happened where people have tried to state that there wasn't enough room for people that were Black, Hispanic, Native American, Asian, Indian, and just use the whole stuff of either stereotypes or using people that think that they know the background to make what would then be the stereotypes across the globe. And then that stereotypes would then be carried on to lead into other issues in those countries. To where, over the last, I would say, it started in 2019 in a small range, but with the pandemic, talks have been opening up to be a lot better for diversity and inclusion, to have more talks opened, even if they're not the best conveyed topics to hit on that are the point of inclusion and diversity. But with that whole thing being the case, where do you yourself see these evolving talks proceeding over the next, hypothetically, 5 years?
And, that's like trying to predict where the wind will blow. I am only one man. This is only my guess. And this is me being absolutely brutally honest. I think it is going to stay much the same. Sadly, the changes that I have seen have resulted in much performance, but minimal progress. In the aftermath of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and those examples, Philando Castile, etc., there was a massive uprising, which has had the steam taken out of it, partly by human inertia, partly by the human need for distraction, partly by design in order to enhance that distraction. And the changes that I see or saw happening in the industry, with roles saying that we only want some representatives of this ethnicity to try out for this role, because that's where my intersection with this historic change comes. Backtracking just a bit. The Cleveland show, Black main character. The voice of Cleveland, not a Black character. That coming out as public knowledge in the aftermath of the George Floyd uprisings caused a massive shift in the industry. the voice of Cleveland stepped back and said, like, you know what? Maybe this wasn't the best look after I've collected millions in several seasons of this show. Now that I've got my money, I'll step back and allow somebody of the same ethnicity and a history with that accent to perform it more authentically rather than me, who was just doing what I've heard on TV and perpetuating the stereotypes that you describe. That is positive change. I will credit it as positive change. I think the needle is going to stay there until another disaster happens. That bothers me. But I think that's how much inertia we have in the way things are, that it will take another tragedy, another release of massive feelings, and another massive push to move this historic boulder that our culture has created. And I'll use our culture as a way of sharing and holding the blame for it, because there are mistakes that I have made as a cis, or you know what, I don't even know the adjectives, I get lost in all of them, but I know that I've been a knucklehead dude, so I take my portion of the blame. So I will say the culture that we have created is going to take another epic disaster. It bothers me to say that, but past this prologue, and what we have seen is an example of how our culture learns. We learn the hard lessons. We learn them in a very ugly way. 5 years? Yeah. It's going to happen again, and we will make take another couple steps down that road. Should be miles, should be light years, but we'll take a couple steps in 5 years.
I can respect that. And it's also one of the building blocks behind why I'm trying to open up these talks, because I've heard so many people, as soon as the pandemic started, we're now opening these whole things so that we can get people of color into this, because that's what you guys want, right? To feel like that whole inclusivity. And as someone that's like racially ambiguous at best, whenever I just sit down to finally hear people say that as like a small thing, it's like, I get that you guys want to make everyone feel included, but the way it's conveyed feels more like you're doing hand-me-outs out of guilt rather than just trying to get from merit.
Rather than just doing right. Just do it right. You don't have to perform. Just do right. But to state that in a way that makes folks even scared to do that is another bad move. So it's a delicate dance that all parties are going to have to learn how to do in order to make the progress without the hard lesson. I hope that we can learn how to do that. Past this prologue, I'm not betting on it.
Yeah, that's just the hard part. I've had so many different answers for this, and the fact that I feel like I'm the only person actively trying to get more a detailed map of people's own thought processes and different ideologies across the board is kind of sad.
Yeah, keep asking. Ask delicately, ask firmly, ask in a multitude of different ways. And just like hitting a rock with a hammer, you can crack any rock if you hit it with a hammer hard enough and often enough. Keep hitting the rock of ignorance with your questions, and eventually you will crack the rock. So keep asking.
I'm gonna try to. But uh, I feel like we've covered a lot of good ground with this question, so we're gonna dive into the next one, which is.
Absolutely.
Oh god, it's one of those super lighthearted questions.
I'll take it.
God dang it, anonymous. If you could sit down with any VA in your current I don't really know how to phrase it from the questionnaire because it's like current grade level, because in certain VA circles they say there's the freshman class, sophomore class, junior class, and seniors and alumni. I don't understand it because back in the day it was just people that were in your weight class, because every single VA and live actor was just kind of like a heavyweight boxer in that analogy. Now it's like high school. I'm lost, but trying to make this make sense for myself, and then to ask you if you can also understand the oddness I'm trying to ask.
Um, Let me see. Let me see if I'm understanding. If so, I would rate it as um, peers, folks who are at your current level in the industry, mentors, somebody who's at a mentor stage, somebody who is ahead of where you are in the industry, or I guess you could rate it apprentice or yeah, that's the vocabulary that's popping up at me.
Okay.
The apprentice level, someone who's like on their way to where you are now.
Okay, that.
So, apprentice, peer, or mentor. Three
Okay,
levels.
okay, we'll go with that. So, if you could talk to one of your fellow actors slash actresses in whatever you feel like is your associated level, what do you think you'd want to create with them, and why?
So who would I like to team up with? Who is at a peer level?
Yeah, let's go with that. 'Cause, again, this is an odd thing to ask because I don't understand how the whole tier list works in skill set level anymore. I, I'm just here, man. I'm trying my best.
No. Actually, it's a pretty valid question, and I I feel I'm kind of fortunate in that I have a circle of friends that I am able to call on um, and ask for collaboration. And barring uh, life stress or schedule, they're more than willing to team up with me. I've got a circle of friends who I've worked on this Batman project. Uh, Matthew Bo Martin, Andrew Lander, Kim Bonney, the young Jedi Josh Evans. Um, those are my core buddies. Got Marquise Moore coming down the pipe. Um, but to answer your question, if it were not that core group of squatties that I currently have on my short list, if I had to expand my short list of peers, um, yeah, the Korean dad of the voiceover world, Voice Moto, Jun Yoon. He and I have had very good conversations and have developed a fondness and affinity for each other. Um, yeah, trying to hear all that low-voiced grumble between two men of a certain age in the voiceover space would be a very interesting collaboration. Also looking forward to teaming up with Miss Bonnie Marie Williams. Uh, she's on my short list. I got her number, and I'm gonna be linking up with her in rather short order. Um, but as far as VO goes, it's a network of team players who are eager to play and express with people of a like mind. So anybody within the reach of my voice. If you want to team up with me, I ain't hard to find. Go ahead and hit me up. And I hope that goes both ways.
Alright, and I appreciate that answer. Even though I'm still sitting over here like, how does this tier skill set thing work? Cause I gotta level with it. I gotta level with everyone. It's weird for me to understand the skill tier list because I left the industry when I was already at the quote-unquote pro status to then come back to indie. So I don't know how this skill tier list works. I'm lost. Well,
I've never heard of such a thing.
I'm just a very lost man, because certain people are like, you're pro status when you get this credit, but I'm like, I have credits, I just never want to be credited. Does that make me a pro? Or does that make me just someone that's in their own lane? What is a skill tier list? I'm very lost.
And where is it written down? Who is using this list? Like, I don't know. Sounds like Mean Girls quality cloud chasing criteria. I need more information before I commit to endorsing this list. Show me where it's written.
Yeah, if any VA that ever watches this or hears this on their drive to work, give me an answer. I am so confused. You have no idea. I just want a clear answer. I'm just one man. Ooh, my head's starting to hurt from how off the wall that whole thing is.
Yeah, don't blow a gasket. Don't blow a gasket. Not even worth it. A list where nobody can find the list? No, don't have a stroke over that mess.
Oh, God. Okay, we're going to dive into the next question. Oh, this is a fun one. I haven't asked in years. Good Lord. If one day you were to wake up and then all of a sudden you open the blinds and see this entire crowd of people just chanting your name, saying they want to see you in this project you didn't even know you were in but became a global success overnight, what would be your first reaction?
Probably panic. Again, I'm a bit of an anomaly in this industry of talkers. I am very, very private and quite quiet. That kind of adulation would probably burn all my fuses. To have that kind of upfront type in your face, yeah, that ain't me. Greeted at the front door by cheering fans. Let them know that I have a strict timetable and try and hang out with as many folks as possible.
God, I haven't asked that question in so long. I feel like the last time I asked someone that was Mandy Moore back in 2000. God, what was that movie she made? Anyway, I haven't asked that question since Mandy Moore. Good God, Anonymous, that's a time capsule question there.
Well, she's probably learned to answer that since then.
Maybe I don't know. I don't even think she remembers that interview anymore. God, but I did appreciate the answer because a lot of people would just be like, "It's to jump out the window and learn how to power glide." I'm like, what does power glide mean? It's like when you just magically have a glider on your back and power through. What?
Okay. Nah, hit the situation head on.
But that funny visual of just power gliding, I'm like, well, that wasn't smart, now was it? Look at you, now on the flow. Does it help that I feel stupid? No, don't. Well, why would you do this to yourself? I'm afraid that then I got nothing, homie.
Yeah, that would be the answer of someone who is afraid. You can't address something. You can't address anything while you're afraid. So they're here to see you. Like, hey, everybody, I got 15 minutes to spend with y'all, and I got to get these boys to school. So I need you to clear the driveway. I'll take as many questions as I can in 15. Glad you're here. Hi, wasn't expecting you. Text me next time. Let's who wants to know something?
My man has a tight schedule. He ain't got time for this mess.
Hey, father of 3, it's always tight.
Yeah. Next to last question.
All right.
Now this is a very interesting one. What would you say is your number one favorite dessert?
Easy. Apple pie. I'm a simple man. Simple needs. Apple pie. You wanna show me that you love me? Boom. Yep. Flaky crust, apples, cinnamon, warm out of the oven. Oh yeah. That's how you hit my heartstrings. If not that, Ben & Jerry's Chunky Monkey. Ain't nothing finer. That's my jam.
And ain't nothing wrong with that, man. A lot of people just have them tastes of, hey, this what I like. If y'all can get me this, that's fine.
Yep. Good people have simple needs.
I mean, not wrong. The only thing that would make me happy any day is just make me something that I would just dig into. It's like, what would that be? Anything that you know you can cook and do it with all of your heart. That doesn't answer the question. I just answered your question.
Yep, what do you bring to the table? Yeah, lots of people don't understand that. Like, you gotta have some input. No, I want you to tell me exactly what it... That's me doing your thinking for you. That's something that I get on my boys about. Now, where does your feeling come in? What are you feeling like? Yeah, I get it. I get it.
I'm glad someone gets it, because it's tiresome explaining it every single time.
Mm-hmm. You have to take a risk. You have to take a risk and take the risk of being wrong. But if you lean into it, that's the best seasoning there is.
Yeah. Yeah. And the final question, which I am honestly just surprised at how detailed and how random this entire assortment of questions has been this episode. Anonymous, I know you editing this, but girl, give yourself a pat on the back and tell your wife that you did an amazing job. What would you say if all of a sudden, like, you're on your porch in the near future when you're approximately, I would say, in your 90s, and everyone's just wondering what was the one big thing you'd want to leave as your ultimate entertainment legacy? Because you already have the living legacy of raising 3 amazing kids, but for like the industry answer, what would you say is that one thing you want to leave in the entertainment industry as a legacy?
Specifics, I will leave. The specifics I will leave to the ages. The general reaction I would want is, I saw that character and believed I could too. Yeah, yeah. I saw that character and like, you know what? If he could do it, I could do it. Whether or not that's Batman taking on the entire League of Assassins, or a king defending his castle against all comers, um, to have a role that embodies the girl power statement. She believed she could, so she did. I want to have that in a universal sense. Whatever the role is, I'm not going to put it on any one, but something that says that to someone who I don't know who was watching.
That there's a very powerful, powerful statement, and I already know it's happening somewhere in the world. You just haven't heard of it yet.
Yeah, exactly so, and I'm gonna keep working until me and that role find each other. Because again, I'm not hard to find.
Well, that would be all of the questions that have been typed up, and I feel like I've grown to, in this entire span of doing this entire show, I've grown to really find some of the best people in what I've stated before, the best of the best. It's why I enjoy sitting down and talk to a lot of people, where in the entertainment industry, it's hard being all the time competitive in every aspect, and then there's just me sitting in my own little space, just like, it's not a competition or a rat race to see who can dominate who. It's just, we're all in this whole thing together. Y'all can be friendly with the competition, but the way the moves are being made just have me questioning how the industry still is standing anymore. But then I jump into this with amazing people like the Urban Legend, June Yoon, Caroline Schaefer, Amanda Hufford, Yenny Ann, Christian O'Boyle, Su-Ling Chan, Chelsea Mayer. So many incredible people to just have me sit down with them without any of those distractions, so that everyone can still see that we're all beautiful individuals. We don't have to be stuck in that global race that I just find to be very counterproductive towards the bigger goal.
Agreed. The best competition is yourself. Trying to find that level in comparison to somebody else is going to lead to nothing but dissatisfaction.
Yeah. But before people just start angrily leaving stuff on Twitter, just like, oh my god, Lion is just saying all this because he knows that everyone else can snuff. Nah, don't put words in my mouth, y'all. Just because I only use my at-home setup don't mean I can hop into an actual studio and actually show y'all why I am the way I am. I don't have rivals or competition with anyone else but myself. Don't put words in my mouth. A lot of people have found out the hard way. When you throw dirt on my name, I back it up with my own arsenal. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm sorry to go on like the weird mood switch. That's just something that's been popping up recently, and I'm kind of getting bored of it.
Understandably so.
That is everything for Cove Club for this episode, everyone. And for all of you guys at home worried about the mood switch, don't worry. This just happens from time to time when people want to just cause... We're all still adults with problems, and certain things kind of just need to still be addressed, even when they don't understand it privately enough times to where you just gotta point it out to a lot of people. Just don't do it like how other people don't. Do as I say, not as I do, basically. Like what I tell my daughters all the time. So, we enjoyed sitting down with UrbanLegendVO, to where we're always keeping an eye on his progress, and we're always just trying to go one step closer to build up that one project that we would love to have him in, because we have a bunch of stuff in the works over the next, not just this decade, not just 2030, but all the way until I personally will be retiring at probably the ripe old age of 132.
Right on. Longevity. Good plan.
But if you guys want to keep up with all this stuff with Urban Legend VO, and you guys are listening to this on Spotify, because you guys are going to have a whole backlog of these episodes going up on Spotify, unlike YouTube. I would love to give you guys the links, but Spotify doesn't like it when I leave links. I've tried. It never works. So you go to our YouTube page, click on the episode, rewatch it if you want to, so you guys can hear the same conversation again to have it really sink in, because every single episode I feel like is important and thought-provoking and very fun to listen to. And then click on all the links to check out all the stuff that Urban Legend's been up to, as well as keep all the stuff that we're doing on all our socials, since our admin will be focusing up on some more stuff starting in March and April, where we're going to be launching some campaign stuff for getting the funds together for something big happening. Not big, but just big in 2023 for two big things for Spotify, and for probably us making our own original animations / our first original cartoons for, I guess, YouTube, because I'm not going to Fox, to HBO Max or Netflix. They got to come to me. I'm not chasing the bag comes to me. And then we're still building up steam so I can finally get to work on the biggest thing of our careers for the studio, where 2032, we're going to be fully announcing something we're going to launch our official trailer for in 2029, for a giant production that's going to need over 200 VAs, like, I don't know, 37 different editors, 17 additional directors, 5 additional writers, and like 7 to 17 different artists and animators and 3D modelers and so forth and so on. Because this big project, I'm going to give enough people everything they would need. Like, no one would have to fight or kill each other over for these roles. I'm trying to build stuff so no one has to feel like it's a rat race. But I want you guys to also know I need your genuine belief to build this. Not the whole, you're doing this to get fame. I'm trying to do this so everyone can eat. So, if y'all believe in us enough, at least try to keep spreading the word, get us through this, that, and the third thing, because we'll do right by people that do right by us. That's how I've kept my business motto. At least I hope people can respect that.
Right on. Hey, sounds good.
God, this is the longest I've been talking all day. Woo!
Takes a lot out of you, doesn't it?
It really does. But anyway, I've been the Lion Founder, and my guest today has been the Urban Legend VO.
All right. Hey, and if you're trying to track me down, website, UrbanLegendVoiceover.com. TikTok, UrbanLegendVO. Twitter, UrbanLegendVO. Instagram, UrbanLegendVO. Like I said, I'm not hard to find. Talk to you soon.
And we will talk to you guys soon, with our next guest being, I don't even know. I didn't check the guest list because I'm having too much fun.
Good policy. Right on.
Yeah. You guys have a good one.